I grew up in Milford, and Larry and Shuby, so I knew the Anthony family. Larry was always around, especially the rink and the ball fields. He was just involved in what they would call the Hatchet League. He was around the Shubenacadie team at that time, and around the ball fields, just helping in any way he could in both those sports. That would be my first recollection of seeing Larry Anthony at work. Shuby Eagles were playing in the Chorrowen District League, and of course that was, Larry was not just a little bit involved in that. He was coaching and GMing and raising money and doing all of that. When the Chorrowen District League ceased operations, Larry decided that it'd be a good time to take the talent, and there was a lot of talent in the Chorrowen District League, and add a few players to it, and Larry started Chorro Senior Hockey as we know it, as the Shuby Chorro Eagles. I was just finishing my last year with the Halifax Junior A team, and Larry came to me and wanted to know if I'd like to join the Chorro Shuby Eagles and the first go in the Senior League, and I was more than anxious to continue my career at that top level hockey.
The Shubenacadie Chorro Eagles, and playing senior, I think they're like a 2-year-old club, and they called a few of us up. So there's me, Kirk Johnson, and Jeff Fielding. We went out and played a few games, and that was my introduction to Larry. Well, the first thing that jumps to mind, it's before we start that next year, and Larry had gotten Wally Travis, who was well known as a junior A coach in Cole Harbour. He was going to coach our team, and Larry made a point of getting me and Wally and Kirk together. And Kirk was going to play with us too. So that was Larry. He was making sure that he was doing things right. And to me and Kirk, I know it showed that Larry thought a lot of us. He was counting on us, and it really made you feel good as a hockey player. It made you feel good as a person that somebody had that much high regard for you.
And Larry was, over those early years, Larry was everything. Like he risked being the owner. There was no one in the early going that was going to clean up any bills that might be accrued. That was Larry. But Larry was the bus driver when needed. He was the trainer when needed. He was the coach when needed. He was the recruiter. He just did whatever needed to be done to keep that going. You want to talk about a driving force? It was him. I mean, he was just hell-bent. Thinking it was a good idea and wanted to give people from basically East Hants to Chorro a chance to play at that very top level senior hockey, and he did it.
Well, you always wondered how he found the time. Like there's so much, and that first year, and it grows to the next year. But it seemed like we had a new teammate every week, and you just wonder how Larry would be out recruited. I mean, Larry was a great. He could encourage you with just his own enthusiasm. It wasn't hard to believe that he was able to get these guys, but you just wondered how he found the time to do so, because that takes a lot of commitment, dedication, and Larry just seemed to have reservoirs of energy to do this stuff, and you wondered how he did a full-time job on top of it, but he did, because that senior hockey team was a full-time job for sure. Again, people I don't think appreciate just how much he did, and he was the type of guy that would be behind the scenes, and fans might not know it, but as players, he was never behind the scenes. He was front and center, and that's what we always appreciated.
I was up there in Chorro, long past my playing career, but Larry was still there. By that time, he was co-GM, and he had, along with Jim Foley, they put together a powerhouse senior team, the Allen Cup. Remember, the Allen Cup is the Stanley Cup, there's the Memorial Cup, and the Allen Cup are like three big trophies in Canadian hockey.
And Larry was the guy who got the ball rolling and kept it rolling for all those years and all those ups and downs, and to culminate like we did. And Larry still, at that point now he's co-general manager with Jim Foley, and sometimes Jim, I think, kind of got pushed out front a little bit more, but there's no question that Larry was the guy.
The Chorro Bearcats won that Allen Cup. There was nobody, besides Larry, any happier, for Larry than me, because I just know the work that he put into it, and he was relentless, and he just kept going. If there needed to be a new owner found, he would find a new owner. If there needed to be, a bunch of new players found, he would lead that charge. So when he lifted the Allen Cup, that was just justice for, that was just the payoff for, decades, literally decades of keeping senior hockey going through all the ups and downs in Truro.
What a great finish for this team. It's all over. Allen Cup champions. The 1998 Allen Cup champions, the Truro TSN Bearcats.
It just felt so right. It was like the perfect ending that, for Larry, for a lot of those guys, but for Larry especially, who was there from day one. And I'm trying to think, and he's really the only guy that's there from day one.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Larry Anthony and Jim Foley for the great job they did. And especially the Truro Bearcats as Allen Cup champions. Thank you very much.
A team that got the whole province up to its feet. The TSN Truro Bearcats brought senior hockey triumph back to Nova Scotia after a 6-decade drought. And tonight, we induct the players, coaches, trainers, managers, and owner of the 1998 TSN Truro Bearcats Hockey Club into the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame.
Larry, from the start with the Shubenacadie Truro Eagles, to the Colonels, and then the TSN Bearcats, and he was always a part of that, and he was always an integral part of that. To see him lift the Allen Cup, it just seemed, okay, this makes it all worth it. This is the way it should be, and what better way to go out?
Larry had to relocate to Truro for his work, but he certainly didn't forget his roots. The very first thing he did, actually I was quite sad when he said, I got to move to Truro, but the very first thing he did, he went to Truro and he seen they were running a TV bingo, a very successful fundraiser, and he was still on the board of the East Hants Sportsplex at that time, and he brought the whole concept down here. Hands down, the largest sports fundraiser ever in the history of East Hants. What's that done for this building that we're in here today, and minor hockey? Incredible, and that was all Larry bringing that idea here.
But yeah, it's just a commitment to the community. It's showing that you want to embrace the community and be part of it. That's the biggest thing, is being part of the community. It's one thing to be your own little hockey organization, playing at the rink and just kind of doing your own thing in your own little bubble. But Larry always made a point, and and that continues with whatever he's done. He's been involved in so many things.
I could start, but the video wouldn't be long enough to list all the boards across the province, not just Truro, not just East Hants, that Larry sat on, still sits on. It's just incredible, the difference that he's made. All this volunteerism has been his life, and he's certainly one of those guys. He's a difference maker. The world's a better place because of Larry Anthony. I can tell you, assure you that. It just seems they don't make people like Larry anymore, because from the time he gets up in the morning to the time he goes to bed, it seems to me that he's just constantly thinking of what he can do that'll better the community. I've certainly a mentor of mine, but mentors of his. Of course, his father, Carl, was front and center in Shuby, and he certainly would have learned a lot about the respect that Carl had in the community for all the stuff. So I'm sure he liked that. And I do know for sure that he respected Keith Miller, and Keith Miller was a bit of a mentor and idol of his, again, with the respect that Keith had in the community. So the patterns were in front of Larry, but you can have the patterns and not do it as intently and and committed as Larry was. I mean, just 100% all in community all the time.
Congratulations, Larry. I know, sitting on the Truro Sport Heritage Board with you, how these votes or these selections are made, and it's a pleasure to see you go in. I know it would be a slam dunk for me if I was on the Sport Heritage out there, Sport Hall of Fame out in East Hants. Well deserved, well earned, and all the best with it. I think it's a perfect entry for this hall, and congratulations.
2023 East Hants Sport Hall of Fame inductee, Larry Anthony.